Good morning, students. So again we are going to start with the next session of online teaching videos. So hope you all are safe. Okay, so now let us start the next chapter, Asia, the largest continent, location and physical features. So far in our geography videos we have discussed only the general topics like urbanization, migration, what is called population dynamics, disaster, all such things. So hereafter we are going to give a full concentration of a particular continents. So now the first continent which we are going to discuss today is Asia. Asia, the largest continent, as we all know, this is the largest continent. And what is the location, where is it located, and what are the physical features of this particular Asian continent? That is what we are going to discuss here. Okay students, now let us go directly to the introduction part. One thing I want to make you understand, hereafter in geography video you have to concentrate the theory with map. So usually I'm telling this in every class time whenever we are discussing the political part of any country or something, or physical features of any particular map. So you have to compare the theory part with the map part, then only you can understand with the comparisons. So just going through the theory part or only going through the map part, definitely it will not work out. So please consider it very seriously. Compare the theory with the map. Definitely that is what very effective to understand the geography. Okay students, and now the introduction, what is it? Although the term Eurasia includes two continents, Asia and Europe. So the first word itself, it's called Eurasia. Eurasia means combination of two different continents called Europe plus Asia. That is called Eurasia. So these are the separate continents, and Asia is the largest of all the 7 continents of the world. As we all know, totally 7 continents in this world, and in that the biggest and largest continent of all 7 is Asia. And if you see, 1/3 of the world's land and 4/5 of the Eurasia. So 1/3 of the entire world is completely occupied only by Asian continent itself. And it is separated from Europe by the arbitrary dividing line of Ural mountain. Ural mountain is a mountain which is in the middle of Asia and Europe. So arbitrary means approximately or randomly we can consider that is a division, that is a dividing line of Europe and Asia. So apart from that, there are some other separations also there, like water bodies separation, the boundaries of our Asia. So that if you see the water body separation, Black Sea and Caspian Sea, that is separating Asia from Europe. Asia is separated from Africa by Red Sea and the Suez Canal, and in this way we can separate Asia from the other nearby continents like Africa and also from the Europe. So now let us see location and extent. Where is it actually located in the world map, and what is the extension? Uh, Extension means the latitude and also the longitude of the particular country, of the particular continent in the world map. So the mainland Asia extends from latitude 10 degrees south to 80 degree north, and other 3 important latitudes. Latitudes, I hope you still remember it. That is the parallel lines. That is only called a latitude. And in this, there are 3 important lines are presented in the latitude. That is called equator, Tropic of Cancer, Arctic Circle, passes through this particular continent itself. Longitudinally, which means vertical, top to bottom. In that longitudinally, if you see, the Asia stretches from 25 degree east to 170 degree west, which is covering nearly half of the land around the world. I mean the globe. Whatever I was telling now, I will explain you one more time by showing the map, okay? So the total area covered by the Asian continent amount to about 44 million square kilometer. So square means all sides are common. Okay, so 44 million square kilometers if you complete, then that is what called the location, the extension or the area of the entire Asian continent. And Asia stretches from Arctic Ocean to the equator, while its eastern shores are washed by the Pacific Ocean and southern shores by the Indian Ocean. So these are the other boundaries. So some other western boundaries also given here. The western part, which is left side, Ural Mountain and Ural River, which separates from Europe, and Caucasus Mountain and the Black Sea called Transcaucasia. So these also the separation from Europe to Asia. And this includes some three other independent countries also called states, called Georgia, Azerbaijan and Armenia. These are the other countries, independent countries, which is separating from Europe to Asia. So now let us go to the next topic called continent and contrast. So continent of contrast. Contrast means what? Opposite. So in the same continent itself, we are having opposite of something. I mean, for example, height means the tallest one and the very deepest one. I mean, very shortest one, or widened one or narrow one. So these kind of some contrast landforms, some contrast places we can find in the same Asian continent itself. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss in this particular. In the same Asian continent, what are the two different kinds of opposite landforms or any kind of physical forms we are going to discuss? That is what. The vast continent of Asia is often called the continent of contrast, which is well reflected in the political as well as physical geography. So I'll explain you by some examples, then you will be understanding very even much better. Physically, this land of extremes has the highest mountain peaks, including the Mount Everest. You know, the world level, the tallest mountain means that is called Mount Everest. That is also located in Asia. At the same time, the lowest land surface, highest also located in Asia, and the lowest is also located in Asia itself, that is called Dead Sea, which is 392 meter below the sea level. Okay, so this is what the contrast. So now let us move to the next page. So here the next page you will be having a political map of Asia. So this is what the political map. Students, you see here Russia is here. This is not at all belongs to Asia. Okay, this is just different. It is out of Asia. So I am just showing you here. You see here, this is starting of this is Africa. So this border here you can see Europe, and this border only comes under Asian continent. So this is what only the colorful thing which is in front of you, except this Russia. This is only called Asia. Okay, so these lines which is very parallel top to bottom, these lines are called latitudes, and top to bottom these vertical lines are called longitude. Okay, so in the below if you see, there is a table that is the political part of the entire Asia. How many countries and its capitals, everything is given here. So I want you to go through each and every country and also its capitals one by one. So now let us move on to the next contrast part of Asia. So Tibetan Plateau, or also we can say the roof of the world. Why it is called the roof of the world means number of highest and most expansive plateaus are located in Asia only. Plateau means what? It is tall definitely. At the same, it's not neither tall nor plain. At the same time, the tip of the plateau is flat in structure, not like sharp in structure like hills. Okay, that is what called plateau. So number of highest plateaus, at the same time very vast plateaus are presented in Tibet. That is why it's called roof of the world. That is also presented in Asia itself. So as I said already, the Dead Sea also we can say it is a salt sea, So that is also located in Asia itself. So height wise, the tallest one and also the deepest one just we discussed. And now let us move on to the next factor called temperature wise. So in Asian continent, one particular region, that is in Pakistan, it has the place name called Jacobabad, which is having 57.6 degrees Celsius highest temperature. It is in Celsius. You have to understand how worse the temperature is. At the same time, the lowest temperature, which means minus 50 degrees Celsius, that is also located in our Asian continent itself. That is called Verkhoyansk in Siberia. Siberia is a part of Asian continent. So there we can find minus 50 degree Celsius, but 57.6 degrees Celsius in Jacobabad, Pakistan. So another important, it receives highest rainfall, that is 1087 centimeter at Masinram near Cherrapunji in Meghalaya. Meghalaya is one of the it is a state of our one of the state of our India. So there Masinram is one location. So there highest rainfall record is there. And the next opposite contrast thing, if you see, 25 centimeter of rainfall which is presented. So that is also in the same of our Asian continent itself. So those regions are generally considered as a desert regions. So then vegetation wise, vegetation means the land, the natural vegetation, naturally the flora, these kind of things we can consider as a vegetation. So mosses and lichens, which means small particles, small microorganisms, also we can find in Arctic region, that is in the top part of Asian continent. Apart from that, it has some of the most densely populated areas of the world: Hong Kong, Java, China, Japan, China and India. So these kind of some small microorganism kind of vegetation is also presented in our Asia. At the same time, some other very deep evergreen forest is also presented in our Asian countries, Asian continent. So that is also kind of contrast. So the next point is called Asia has some of the world's most fertile river valleys called Ganga, Indus, Wanghu, Mekong, Euphrates and Tigris, which grow all kinds of rich crops and are densely populated. We have some very long and very fertile river we have in our Asian continent. So these are some examples, and those regions are highly densely populated because that is their source to live in the location. So there definitely highly rich crops, agricultural things or activities are being done because of the help of the river. So if you see some other regions in Asia itself, completely dried regions also available. Those dried regions means obviously it is a desert region, some which is very drought in the land part. So definitely those people, those regions, people will not be living. So that is why it's called very small population or scarce populated region. Example, Iran, Afghanistan. So these are some examples. So apart from these physical features of Asia, some religious wise also we have some, that is called Asia is a place, it has given number of religions have born, which means the birthplace of many religion like Judaism, Christianity, Islam from West Asia. So Zoroastrianism from Iran, Confucianism from China, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. So these are some varieties of religion also created in Asia only. So apart from these contrast, so now let us move on to the next heading called political division of Asia. Political division means how the Asian continent divided depends on the direction. So here we have some directions, that is called East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, West Asia and Central Asia and North Asia. So totally 6 directions, 6 different part we have divided one single Asian continent we have divided into 6 different directions. So accordingly to these 6 different directions, what are the countries presented there? So that is what we are considering as the political division of Asia. So listen students, this particular divisions of political divisions of Asia, I want you to consider this paragraph along with the political map. Political map, just a minute, I'll show you. So this is our Asia's political map. North part, this is eastern side, this is southern, and here this will be the western. Okay, so in this all major 4 directions we are going to divide into 6 directions, 6 divisions. In that we will discuss the political one by one. So East Asia, which means very far east. Okay, far means totally in this side. This is what Asia, in this far east, whatever the countries are located, that is considered as East Asia. And Southeast Asia, so I want you to go through these countries' names by comparing with the map, otherwise it is very difficult for you to understand it. Okay, so now let us move on to the next heading called CIS in short, that is called Commonwealth of Independent States, which means like our India, how we are a democratic independent country. India is an independent democratic country. Just like that, what are the other Commonwealth independent states are presented in Asia? So that is what called Commonwealth independent states. So once in the year to 1991, USSR collapsed and broke into the entire, which means Russia. Okay, the USSR means it's a Soviet Russia. It broke into 15 independent republics. Okay, so those republics are totally divided into 11. So those are generally called Commonwealth independent states. And here we are going to see they are ruled by the emperors. Those countries are ruling by those countries, they have their own independent democracy. So that is why we are calling it is an independent nation. So here you can see totally 11 different countries. Okay, so these are the 11 different independent Commonwealth states of our Asia. So the last 2 are unofficial members as they have not ratified the charter of CIS. So the last 2, which means Turkmenistan and Ukraine. Okay, fine. So these are the political and also the Commonwealth of Asia. And now students, we are moving to the next important heading called physical features of Asia. So far we were doing the discussion of political part, which means the Asian country and the inside the Asian country, the other land part of Asian countries. Okay, so the Asian continent, different countries based on the directions we discussed, that is east, west, south, north, and the central and all. And now we are going to see the physical features of Asia. Inside the political part of the Asia, what are the different varieties of landforms presented? Landforms, I hope you must be knowing it, that is hills region, mountains, plateaus, plains, valleys, rivers. So these all are generally called physical features. So that is what we are going to see here in this physical features of Asia. So here for the physical features of Asia also we have a separate physical feature map of Asia. So now hereafter from this heading onwards, I want you to consider each and every paragraph you have to compare with the map. Then only you can understand what is what. Otherwise it is very difficult. Blindly please don't read. Understand the theory with the map. Then it is very easy to understand. Blindly please don't study anything. So students, now we have totally 5 physical divisions of Asia. The first one is northern lowland. In the name itself it's very clear. North part of Asia, which means north part of Asia's low level land, which means plain region. And central highlands, center part of Asia and its highlands. Highlands means mountains, hills, just like that. And southern plateaus. Southern side, what are the plateaus are presented. And great river basins and all varieties of rivers, what and all presented inside Asian continent, that is what. And islands. Finally, islands. Islands means a part of land completely surrounded by water in all the directions. Okay, that is what called islands. These are the 5 different physical features we are going to discuss one by one. So as I said, students, already this physical part, definitely you have to compare every single paragraph with the map, otherwise it will be very tough to understand. So in Asia, there is a vast triangular expanse of lowland stretching from the northeast of Siberia to the Ural Mountains and the Caspian Sea in the west. I understood no one will understand this paragraph without considering to the map. So in the next page, map is there in the next page. So here you can see this is a physical feature, that is mountains, all varieties of mountains given, all plains and plateaus names, and this is all rivers and seas name of Asia. So here you have to go through, and better than this, you have one more physical feature map. This is what, so this is what your physical feature. So if you see here, Caspian Sea, and inside, now we are started with northern lowland. Okay, northern lowland, this is entirely Asia, this is northern part, and inside what are the land, this is entirely Siberia. Okay, Ural mountain, which is separating this part is Europe, and this Europe is separating from this Asia by this arbitrary line called Ural mountains. So these green colors are representing grassland, vegetation land, brown color and all representing mountain, plateaus and all such things, blue colors and all representing, I mean these inside blue colors and all, sea, river, any water bodies and all represented by blue color. So you have to compare those theory with this map, physical features map, otherwise it will be very tough. Please understand. Okay, so as I said, from the north, Central Asian mountain ranges, these island slopes towards to the Arctic Ocean coast. So if you see in the northern lowland, you can see 3 different long rivers, that is called Ob, Yenisei and Lena. These rivers flow northward and empty into the Arctic Ocean. So now let us see what is that Arctic Ocean, Ob, Yenisei and Lena. So as I said already, here this is the northern part. So here you have to find out what is called Ob, Yenisei and Lena. So here you can see Lena. So you see here. So Ob, Yenisei, Lena. Okay, please go through it like that. You have to study, otherwise it is very tough. So they mention clearly this is northern part, in the north side, lower side, Ob, Yenisei and Lena. These are the directions going towards to the northern part. Long rivers. And next, if you see, Ob, Yenisei is lowland. There are occasional depression in the Ob, Yenisei, and here there is another small map for only for these 3 different rivers where it is going to drain into. All these are going towards to the north, and finally drains into the Arctic Ocean in the top. So this is what Ob, Yenisei's, Lena's draining system. Okay, so fine. So generally the flood water flows to the depression and fills them up. This way vast swamps and marshy areas are created in the northern lowland. When the excess of water, the river water is going towards to the same northern side, water is presenting there itself for a long time continuously. So those kind of region will not be dry at all at any time. So those are completely filled by wet. I mean the water is presenting in that land continuously, so that it is always swampy and marshy region in the northern lowland region. Okay, now let us see what is called the Turan lowland. Before we saw Ob, Yenisei lowland, and now let us see Turan lowland. So here in this Turan lowland, there are 2 different kind of rivers are involving, Amu Darya and Sir Darya. These 2 rivers flow into the Aral Sea, making this area an area of inland drainage. So let us see where is Amu Darya and Sir Darya river. So we have to find out Amu Darya and Sir Darya in this northern part only. Okay, so I want you to go through it very deep and clean. So if you see it very in depth, you will find out the Amudarya and Sirdarya. So those are called Turan, and those two, Amudarya and Sirdarya, will ends up into the small sea called Aral Sea. So this is why it is called inland drainage. Okay, so here Sirdarya is there, and Amudarya, and these two, Amudarya and Sirdarya, is finally draining inside to the Aral Sea. That is why it is called inland drainage system. Okay, so like that I want you to consider the theory with the map. So the next one is Siberian lowland. So in the Siberian lowland, some small low level hills regions are there, which is completely eroded by some natural substances, okay, like water erosion or wind erosion. So just like that, everything is eroded. So that is why those regions are completely low in its height. So now let us go to the next physical feature called central highland. So central highland means, now you forget about the northern part, come to the central part of Asia. That is only called central highland, and here you can see fold mountains and plateaus and all typical core mountain system we are going to discuss. Mountain ranges radiate from Pamir Knot. The Pamir Knot is situated to the south of Central Asia. So we'll see where is Pamir Knot. So this is a map before we completed this northern lowland, and now we are going to see the central part. Okay, and as I said already, the brown color only we have to consider for the highland, because the highland means it's a mountain plateaus altogether. So that is why it is represented by brown in color. So here we have to find out where is this Pamir Knot. So here Pamir Knot is there, and the left hand side some mountains, so right hand side some mountains of the Pamir Knot. So left and right, what are the surrounded mountains, that is what we are going to discuss here. So Pamir Knot is situated in the south of Central Asia, and continuation. So as I said already, here you can find out very clearly where is Amudarya, Sirdarya, and Ob Yenisei, all these rivers details. So I want you to go through these all. Everything is having more importance in the exam time, pointing in the map. And now this is what physical feature map. You see here very particularly, very clean and clear map of Pamir Knot. This is the central part of Asia, which is just in the top of India. Pamir Knot is presented here, and in the left side what are the Asia Minor to Pamir Knot, and from here the Pamir Knot to all the right hand side. All these mountains only we are going to discuss now. So now let us start one by one. Pamir Knot is a meeting point for the Central Asian mountain ranges. From Pamir Knot, the chain spreads out in different directions to the northeast, southeast, southwest and to the west. These ranges make up the skeleton of the continent. The entire continent is having some special structure because of this Pamir Knot. This is the we have to consider the Pamir Knot as the center part. From the Pamir Knot, left side, right side, eastern side, in the bottom side, that is in the south. So that is what we have to consider. And Pamir Knot is the height of 6,000 meter, and it is the highest plateau of the world. Pamir Knot itself a highest mountain. Okay, it's highest plateau. To the west of the Pamir Knot we have two ranges. West means this is Pamir Knot, west this side. Okay, this is west, this is east. So now we will see the western part only. Sulaiman Range and Hindu Kush mountain. Inside the Sulaiman Range and inside the Hindu Kush mountain, two continuations are there, that is Zagros mountain, Armenian Knot, and here in the Hindu Kush mountain we have Tajikistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So these are comes under, all these places are presented within this Hindu Kush mountain itself. So now this Hindu Kush mountain is continuously going towards to the Elburz, Armenian Knot. These all completely together is called western part of the Pomeranotte. So here there is a new word introducing called intermontane plateau, which means, for example, you see this is one mountain and this is another mountain. Between these two mountains, the gap is filled by some plateaus. That plateau is considered called as intermontane plateau. One mountain, another mountain, the central part, the central gap is filled by some other plateau. That particular plateau we have to say as intermontane plateaus. Okay. So here we have the intermontane plateaus called Iran and plateau of Anatolia. So these are the two different plateaus which is in between Zagros mountain and Armenian Knot. So now we are going to see the next one called Karakoram range. This Karakoram range it includes the mountain and the plateaus region to the east and northeast. East is here, north to east is here. So from the Pomeranotte eastern side, from the Pomeranotte north side, north to east, what and all it is mentioned in between. You can see here Tian Shan and all these called the northeastern mountains. So that is what called Karakoram range. So there is one particular mountain, highest peak presented in this region, that is called Godwin Austen. Also we can say K2. So this mountain is presented in this Karakoram range. So Ladakh plateau, and it is Karakoram and Himalayas, and second mountain range which starts from Himalayas proceeds in two parts, that is Kunlun, and in the north it is called Altin. In the east it is known as the Nanshan. So students, wherever there is a different font color, so these are the mountain names, so please go through it very keenly. So as I said already, the deeper, very vast vast plateaus, that is also presented in the east towards to the north part of the Pomeranotte, called Plateau of Tibet. And Tian Shan is also known as Heavenly Mountains. And so Mongolian Plateau, it lies between the Kinkan and Nanshan. So these are the stretches of Mount Pomeranotte in the eastern and the western side. So now we will see the Himalayan mountain ranges. As you all know, Himalayan, it's a mountain range of many hills, many peaks. So one of the highest peak of Himalayan mountain range is called Mount Everest. So world's tallest peak. And in the northeast of the Arunachal Pradesh, the mountain range turns and southward, and it is called Patkai range, and the border of India and Myanmar. So these are called the Pomeranotte northeast part. So now we are going to see southern plateaus. So southern plateaus means, so before we discussed lowland, we completed highlands in the center, and now we are going to see the the plateaus, which means southern plateau, the south side, whatever the plateaus are located. Okay. So now we are going to see the southern plateaus. From the point of view of landform, the three peninsulas in southern Asia are three different. That is called Arabian Plateau in the southwest, Deccan Plateau in the south, and Plateau of Shan and Yunnan lies in the Shan state of Myanmar and Yunnan state of China. Okay, so these are the three different plateaus. Now let us see that in the physical map also. I'll show you. So here we have the Deccan Plateau in the south side, and in the eastern side we have Shan, Nanshan, and these all, and these are the different plateaus which is presented. Okay, so this is what called southern plateaus. Okay, so now we will see the next physical features called great river basins. So when the continent is so wide and so big, definitely number of rivers are presented in that particular continent in a different countries. So now we will see what are the river and what kind of civilizations are presented. And I hope you must be knowing each and every civilizations have been created just based on the river. Depend on the river, the civilization had been introduced or created in that location. So we have Indus Valley civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, Chinese civilization. These all civilizations or belongs to this Asian continent, and that is all mainly depends on the number of varieties of rivers. So we have a number of fertile alluvial soil rivers, and which deposits lot of minerals because the river is traveling for a long way, and it collects number of minerals on its way and finally settle down in the basin region, so where the agricultural gives more production. So this is called the fertile alluvial soils, and here we are going to have these river basins. And those, obviously, where there is a will, I mean where there is a number of population, definitely people are depending on some particular resource, natural resource, that is what none other than the river basins. So the valley of Mesopotamia, which means Iraq, which is western part of our Asia, so those are having number of rivers together, that is called Euphrates and Tigris river together and forms the Persian Gulf. And the next one is valley of Indus, that is for India and Pakistan. It is formed by the river Indus and its 5 tributaries. So the main river in Indus is divided into many branches, 5 different branches called Ravi, Jhelum, Beas, Satluj and Chenab. So these valleys covers a large area in India and also in Pakistan. So all these 5 tributaries are giving most importance for the agriculture is it is completely supported just because of this rivers. So when there is no river, then definitely there will not be any water supply to the land, so no harvesting, so things will not happen properly. So depends on this valley, sorry, depends on this river. So those are highly populated and very well rich fertile land. Apart from that, the valley of Ganga and Brahmaputra, so that is another important fertile plains of our India. And the next one is Great Plains of China. So the another important rivers which is presented in China, that is called 3 rivers, Huanghu and Sangjiang, also called Yangtze, and Sikiang. So these are the other important Chinese rivers. So that is the reason Chinese civilization had been created. And now the last important physical feature is island. As I said already, the part of land which is completely surrounded by a water in all direction is called an island. So here most of the islands are the submerged parts of old mountains and volcanic. Lot of mountains have been submerged, okay, so due to the volcanic and eruptions and these kind of things. So most of the islands are rocked by the earthquakes and volcanic activity, as they are part of Pacific Ring of Fire. Number of volcanoes are presented in that particular location. So whenever it erupts, so that some nearby islands are completely submerged. It's completely drowned. Okay, so Mud Volcano Island. So NASA's Earth Observing EO1, which means Earth's Observation satellite, captured the birth of the new island off the coast of Gwadar in Balochistan, Pakistan, after an earthquake of about 7.8 of Richter scale on 24th September 2013. So apart from that, why it is called Mud Volcano Island, which means it is oozing of oozing means releasing methane gas and also mud together. That is why it's called Mud Volcano Island. Mud means it's a soil kind of. And it has been confirmed by the National Institute of Oceanography from Pakistan. Then the next island we are going to concentrate, Kuril Island. They extend from the Kamchatka Peninsula up to the main islands of Japan, which means far east of Asia. So here you can see the picture of that mud volcano. So see here you can see methane is being erupted along with the mud. So this is what the next picture. This is what the Pakistan captured picture. And finally we have the last few things, that is further south of islands of Taiwan, Philippines and Indonesia. This is in the south towards to the east, southeast some islands. The Malay archipelago, which means archipelago means it's a group of many islands together, that is called archipelago. Malay means it's a Malaysian some group of islands, that is called, considered as the largest system of island group. It lies between the India and also Pacific Ocean. Indian and Pacific Ocean, in between these Malay archipelago is located, and it includes the island of New Guinea, Celebes, which means Sulawesi, Borneo, Sumatra, Java, Bali and Timor. So these are the individual islands which is presented in the down part of Asia. that is in between India and Pakistan's ocean, that is generally called Malay Archipelago. And here this is a picture of Philippines volatile Mount Mayon erupted in the year 2013 May 7. Okay students, this lesson is completely done with the physical and political features of Asia. Please read, go through twice along with map.